What is up, my callback babies? We need a nickname for the listeners. Callback guys. If you have any suggestions for our hive, I feel like every successful podcast or rapper has a hive. But anyways, this is a very special episode of Callbacks. Sam and I have been traveling all over the world, man. Mainly Sam, really. But life has been life, and so your boys. This is a special episode. We just are going to show you a never before used intro from the pod a couple months ago, and then we're going to give you all of our favorite moments of Callbacks podcast. Some of the podcast moments with just me and Sam, with great racial tension, chef's kiss. Also just some of the funny moments with some of our favorite guests, some of our homies or whatever. But we will be back next week with a brand new podcast in studio, God willing. But in the meantime, if you do want to see me and Sam this week, I'm doing a half hour of comedy at the Comedy Nook here in LA. So if you are in LA and you say, I miss Danny and Sam. Oh, Sam and Danny, I love the podcast so much. They're great guys. They're so funny. If you want to see us in person before we start touring Callbacks live or whatever the funny people do, pull up on us Saturday, June 10th, this Saturday at the Comedy Nook. The ticket link is in my bio at Follow Sellers. But yeah, man, this is, like I said, life's been life, and so we didn't want to take the week off and wanted to at least give y'all something that we haven't released before. So hit the first intro that, like I said, we've never used before, and then also some of our favorite moments of Callbacks so far. So if you are a new listener, which I know we've gotten a lot of new folks to start listening, I appreciate y'all so much. This is a perfect time to catch up on some of our favorite moments and inside jokes, because there's a lot that are cooking already. And if you are holding us down since the beginning, we appreciate you. Love you so much. And we will be back next week with brand new heat. And if you want to just, I need the hits, the slaps of Callbacks so far. You've already heard them, but you want to hear the slaps again. Because sometimes you need to hear the slaps again. This is the perfect episode for you. So thank y'all so much for the support so far. Catch us next week, and we will be back. Peace. The old me's dead and gone. Dead and gone. Been cooking on that za.
That's disgusting.
That's what you sounded like you were saying.
Yeah, I said it, but I said it in a way cooler way.
Is it because I'm from the suburbs? What is up, guys?
Welcome.
It's Callbacks with
Callbacks.
Danny Sellers and Sam Salem. I am Sam Salem.
I am. I'm also Sam Salem. I was gonna lie.
Wow, there's two Sam Salems. That's horrifying. I get enough of me as it is.
I do too. Drama. We need to manufacture drama and bad blood on this podcast. That's gonna get us to the next level, and I think episode 8 it'll start.
Yeah, you guys, these are early. This is early on, so you all don't really know us yet.
I'm trying to sabotage the pod. I'm like trying to come in late, like after a bender of whatever. Just like, oh, I guess I didn't realize it was episode today.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I don't want you like standing outside waiting to get into the.
Yeah, I think most people, when they think like, oh, they're starting a podcast together, they must be best friends, and it's really Danny just using my medium internet clout to try to get me canceled, so then he can be like, guys, sorry, and then he distances himself
100%.
and does the solo tour.
100%.
And I'm here feeling like, oh my gosh,
Facts.
Danny is the cool guy in varsity, and I'm on JV, and he's letting me sit at the lunch table with him. This is unbelievable. I'm so excited.
But then you're the kid that low-key has like a big ass house.
I'm only popular because I'm rich. They're just taking advantage. Oh, you got a pool? Hey, we should. In Minnesota, it's like, oh, you got a boat? We should hang out sometime. Like my family did not have a boat, but the kids whose families had boats.
You have the lake house for sure, bro. And thank you for so much.
What's going on? Before we got a great things lined up, but let's just do a little check-in. What you been on lately?
Doing comedy, dog. It's so funny doing comedy in different neighborhoods in LA.
Stand-up comedy,
Stand-up comedy, yes. Stand-up comedy. If you didn't already know, I started comedy in Chicago, and we all were both here in LA. For the listeners, so you know, Smartless has like, what's the lady's name? The sister's name, Tammy, or
oh yeah, for Tammy in Wisconsin or Ohio or whatever.
Something like we need that version for our listeners. People
Yeah,
that don't know.
but mine are like millennial version, so it's like Ashley, but it's spelled like ASHLEIGH.
Yeah.
So this is for Ashley in
Facts.
Temecula. I don't know. That's kind of
Yeah.
was Midwest. This is for Ashley in Des Moines.
Yeah, this is for Jerome in Chicago. So we have our different versions. But so anyway, in different parts of the city in Southern California, the crowds are just very, very different. Like in Chicago is very segregated or whatever, but I feel like a lot of other places in the Midwest, 45 minutes here, 45 minutes there, it's
all kind of the
still all
same.
kind of the same
Yeah.
people. But LA is not that at all. So
No, you can have East Side, which is very like hipsters and they thems, and then you can have like Long Beach, which it's like it's kind of being gentrified, but you still got a lot of like if you know about Long Beach back in the day, you still got some of that happening. You got downtown LA, which is just like stay away from downtown. It is crazy how many different little microcosms you got.
Yeah, you got old money white people, new money white people, tech money,
Beverly Hills, all like
facts, right. So you just got all these different just intersections of people.
So where were you at? What kind of neighborhood?
I was in Paramount doing a show.
I don't even
it's like
know what
South.
that is. That's not a real place.
Yeah, I had no idea either. But it was in a coffee shop.
It's it's between like Compton and Downey and that kind of area.
Yeah, I didn't know. I just Googled. Half the time these days you just put in Google and like you could be going anywhere. Like you just going. It might be hell. It's like, oh, I guess I'll just go into hell.
Tells you to turn into the ocean. You're like, I guess this is a new route.
For sure. Pacific Ocean, for sure. But no. So, anyways, it was in a coffee shop and like a churro shop / horchata. That's how you say it.
Horchata.
Shop, and it was kids there. It was mostly Latin / Mexican folk. So it was just interesting how you have to adjust your comedy, especially in these places that are so many different intersections of people.
Especially for you who couldn't lean on your crutch of attacking white people in the audience.
Oh, but that's what I did. I just made fun. I just talked about how there's no white people here, and I was like, let's just all talk about white people.
Oh, it was kind of like, hey guys, they're finally not around.
Facts.
Let's Mexican Black Alliance. Let's get on the same page.
100%. And I went out first too, so the crowd wasn't really warm, and it was like kids still there, and I just was kind of one of those things where you're up there and you have a set plan, but you just say, you know what, it's not hot enough for me to sit here and just do
the vibes
jokes.
are not right. Like these jokes they don't want to hear crafted jokes. They just want to hear you like podcasts from on. They want to talk to you. They want to have a conversation.
Yeah, I was asking people, did a little bit of crowd work, like what do you do for a living? But I just like talked about like, I'm going to be saying the word coochie and nigga, whatever. I know it was early in the episode, but saying just different words, and there was like kids, and the kids asking the mom like, what is coochie? As she was coloring or whatever. So it was just all these different little moments we had. I couldn't really get into jokes, but anyways, the point of it was doing comedy in front of different groups of people. It does make you better.
And dude, in front of kids is crazy. I mean, every once in a while, me, being a teacher, I have kids like, let me hear your jokes. But being in LA, especially, LA is just such a different place. I don't think we've talked about this on another episode. But one time I was substituting a class, and it was these seniors at this when I say rich school, I mean, it is like the parents are showing up in Maseratis and Lamborghinis and like the most expensive Teslas. And they just said, hey, just make it a study hall. So I'm just sitting there minding my own business. And all of a sudden a girl in the class finds my Instagram, is like, oh, why do you have followers? Are you somebody? Are you famous?
Oh my God.
And so they just start grilling me with a lot of questions. And then they all start looking at my Instagram. And this one girl goes, do you do stand-up comedy? And I'm like, I don't want to deal with this. And I'm just like, oh yeah, sometimes. She's like, oh, actually, and this is so LA, it's unbelievable. She goes, you do stand-up comedy? And I'm like, yeah, I guess sometimes. She's like, oh, I intern at a club. I'm really tight with the booker. I could get you some stage time?
No.
And it turned from me from like, I don't want to talk about this at all, to all of a sudden it's this 17-year-old honor student that I'm like, here's my business card. Here's my email, my book for my booking. And this is my manager. Yes. What's the booking contact? And I got booked on a show because she sent my information onto the booker. And they had me come do a show.
Was it like some weird creepy dude it was like her cousin at least, or was it some weird?
No, it's this woman, very like the Crow in Santa Monica. Like it's this fun vibe, newer club, but it's a good vibe.
Yeah, I've heard of the Crow. I didn't know if it was like some weird dude in like hunting the beach.
Oh yeah, I know somebody she like actually was an intern at a.
Facts.
I mean, it's not the biggest comedy club in the world, but it's like a
cool
proper little club that's on the up and up. And so that's
It's
just
a new club, right? Crow's like new, right?
yeah, it's new, and it's like
That's
it's good
funny.
vibes. So it's just the fact that they're like only in LA would it be like I'm substitute teaching and it turns into a networking event because there's industry in the room,
Bruh.
and the industry is 17-year-olds.
This is the last thing I'll say before we get into the episode. It is such a interesting thing in LA that it pays us to be at least neutral, if not nice, to every single person.
Yes, you
Because
never know.
you never know, and it's been where we're recording right now, WTF Media.
Shout out.
Thank y'all. It's been times where people come in and record, and you don't really know who they are, and then you Google their name, 5 minutes before the session or
They
after
got
the
7
session,
million followers.
and they're like massive people.
Yeah.
And it's just this time in the digital age where it's just so many people have followings and have content and are making money off content, especially here in LA, that it just pays to be at least neutral to everybody, if not nice.
Right.
That's my ism for the day.
That's that Midwest nice boy, Danny.
You gotta be. Even if you don't want to be, at least be neutral, because you know that person, and there's been times here. I mean, I got booked on Neil Brennan's show from, I think he was just being nice, and he wasn't even there at Westside, but he was being nice by
I mean, that's a huge, for those that know, Neil Brennan, like one of the helped Chappelle create the Chappelle Show, like
Half Baked,
one of the biggest comics in the game.
Netflix special. So it's just cool to see, or maybe just interesting to see how even sometimes when we are in our own brain about certain stuff, you just never know who could help you. That might be somebody's kid. That could be somebody's brother. They might be childhood friends with somebody that's on SNL or whatever. You just never know, bro. So anyways, that's my lesson for the day.
I love that. We're about comedy. We're about learning interesting facts from interesting entertainers, and we're also giving you life lessons.
Yeah.
We got a great guest for you guys today. We're gonna get into that. And actually, for those of you who on YouTube that are watching, you're about to see like, why are they in wardrobe change? Yeah, that's what kind of budget we got. Wardrobe change. No, this is early episodes. We're still learning. We're still growing, and we forgot to do a little intro sesh. So, hey, we're correcting our mistakes. We're learning from them. So you're going to see us in a different outfit, but it's going to be great. Bro, yeah, I'm definitely not eating chicken fries. Bro, why are you calling it chicken fries, man?
That food is disgusting.
I used to work in a food distribution warehouse that like stored all those, like the BK chicken fries, and also all Subway stuff is just frozen hockey.
You know what? I also only trust fast food from like small towns with no really good infrastructure or economy.
So wait, like if a McDonald's is in like some bumblefuck,
yeah, it's gonna slap because that's all they got.
So they're gonna take their time on it.
Yeah,
this is gourmet.
Right, that's all they got.
Okay,
all they got. If it ain't shit in the town, and like, oh yeah, I'm working at Burger King, like if you a shift manager at Burger King, you live a livable wage in your little shitty town.
Yeah.
At Burger King or at fucking you the shift manager at Subway, you gonna give a fuck about them club sandwiches.
Yeah. Chipotle's back in the Midwest.
A buzz.
Where you can buy a house for $200,000. Way better. Chipotle's by the beach here are just cold, old, sad, terrible. Because
it's always gonna be some fucking teenager who got kicked out of school. He's in alternative school and he has to do this job because he's gonna go to jail if not. And it's not gonna buzz. Would you get some, a 39-year-old with a kid or two? He really gotta work because he don't want to go back to selling drugs. He's been in jail once already. And he's like, look, this is my first chance to really make something of myself in my life. Them sandwiches gonna bust a little bit better.
That's true. Subway though, I'll die before I eat Subway sandwiches.
Go to San Francisco right now, and I guarantee any fast food you eat is gonna be disgusting.
Yeah, the poverty line's like
right,
$90,000.
Exactly, and that's why the shit But go to Dayton, Ohio right now. And have one fucking 4 for $4. You can be like, damn, this shit.
I gotta censor so many of the stories I tell on social media just because. Yeah, keep the brand clean and everything, but there's some funny stuff. So
you need to do one of those rewrite. What's that one movie when the white teacher comes and teaches all the black kids? When it was like in the 90s, is it Poet something?
Dead Poet Societies. That's all white kids. Wow, I'm blanking on the name, but it's like
do that with you.
Yeah,
little Mexican kid, like instead of white women, black kids, and you and like little Latin kids.
Yeah,
it's like you getting stabbed like low key.
I'm wearing my Nike Cortezes to fit in, which I've done that before for sure.
That's tight.
What's up with you? What's going on in the world of Danny?
My life is ruined. Ha 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 ha. Nah. Yeah, mental health is medium rare. We're vibing.
Mental health is medium rare is a crazy state to be in.
Yeah, mad medium rare.
Pink in the center.
Yeah, a lot of pink. Yeah, left a lot of pink. Wasn't cooking for long enough. A lot of salmonella, but no, dog. I told you this before we were on mic. I tried to sell my motorcycle today, and essentially drove from West LA to Glendale on this damn motorcycle, all for them to essentially allow me to get there and say, yeah, we don't sell bikes unless you trade or trading to get a new bike.
Right. Which you had checked in ahead of time.
Which I called in, like, yo, do you buy bikes? I gave them the bike name, the miles, everything. Like, yeah, come pull up. So essentially they just were trying to get me to come in hopes that I would buy a more expensive bike when in reality, I don't need a bike.
Right. You like, I don't even want to spend the money on this one right now. Right. I want this money. And also for those Midwest people, non-LA people, going West LA to Glendale, that's not just like let me. It was 40
minutes.
Yeah, one way. Yeah,
one way. 40 minutes one way. Then I had to drive it back another 40 minutes back to my boy Torrance's spot, and so it was just a lot. And it's a lesson on just being like honest with people, bro. Like that's my lesson. That's my ism today. Sam's corny ass teacher jokes are wearing off on me, so I'm good. Every episode I'm gonna have
life lessons.
Yeah, life lessons to teach, and just be honest with people. Like, because at the end of the day, bro, I might essentially want to buy a bike again.
You're never doing it.
It was at a Harley dealership. I was like, I like Harley, whatever. But it's like I would never go back there. And them people might be gone, long gone, whatever, when I ever buy a bike again. But it's just, it would have been so simple for them to be like, yeah, dog, we probably won't buy this, or like we only buy with trades or whatever. And I would have respected that honesty.
They could have told you, hey, we don't do that if you want to trade it in, and you would have been like, hey, nah, no. But you would have been like, all right, they're honest, they're nice.
And now I'm on a podcast shitting on Harley Davidson of Glendale because they weren't honest with me.
Harley Davidson of Glendale, apologize to my man.
Facts.
They said Black History Month is over. It's the beginning of March. We're trying to play you.
It wasn't even the end of the month. It's like, it's the beginning of the month, dog. Why are you doing this? It's like lame sales tactic. You ever heard of racism? This is what racism looks like.
Let's stay back in this 2014 era because.
Okay. All right, go ahead.
What's the first thing what's your first thought when you hear just a black man?
Ooh, you can't. Hold on. First of all, put a camera on me. These are some slap moments. These moments that he's bringing up, this is really good times. I know he's embarrassed for me, but these are peak Danny times. I don't give a fuck what you got to say. All right, I got another one. I got another date. Since we want to fucking dig deep. April 11th, 2011. Do you remember what? This is the day it was posted. So I don't know what.
April 11th,
2011.
2011.
This is the date that the thing was posted.
I graduated high school that year. I don't know. What's up there? Prom. Want to know what's even embarrassing about that?
I'm going to just try to make this as zoomable as possible. So as you speak, go ahead.
Shout out Parker.
Yeah.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Parker the poodle.
Yes.
That's the only school dance I ever went to.
Damn.
In senior high.
Damn. Hold on. So what happened? You just was like, we not really fucking with Sam for real?
I was just self-conscious. I was like, probably no one wants to hang out with a redhead with acne.
Facts. That was probably true.
And the only way people danced back then was grinding.
Yeah.
Which I don't know if that's still the case. I should know, but as I don't go, I'm a high school teacher now, or I used to be, and I don't go to dances for that reason. I don't want to know what kids are doing on the dance floor. But grinding was the only way, and I was just like, what if I do it wrong? So I just didn't go to school dances.
You was at home just like fighting demons while everybody was having a great time?
Yeah, I was just like, hey, Dad, you want to watch Lord of the Rings again?
He was probably mad as fuck. Damn, get this lame ass nigga out of my house.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But that's, I miss that hairline. That's about the only thing that I miss from those days. That's the only thing I miss.
Oh, man. So, all right. Proms. Is that your senior prom?
That was my senior prom.
Did you have a date?
I did. She was in college.
Ooh.
And we weren't even dating. So that's kind of...
Was it like a church girl, or what was it?
I need a church girl who go to church and read her Bible.
I don't know.
No, just everybody in that friend group had already like paired up or was dating, and she was in that friend group. She had just graduated, and so I was like, well, I don't want to take someone that's not in the friend group. Which I don't know why prom groups. Was this your prom? It would be like 50 people taking pictures together. Yeah. Like you look at like prom movies from back in the day, it's like, okay, it's me and my 2 best friends and their dates. And then it just turned into like, hey, we're going to split a party bus 64 ways.
So my prom, my junior, I went to 2 proms. I could have really went to 3, but I did one in my freshman year. Junior year prom went with a girl, cute black chick, stole her from a white man.
Reparations.
He was pissed. He wanted to fight me, and I was like, "Dog, I was the new kid at school. Like, what do you mean? I don't know what's going on," type thing. Was
it like a pretty mixed school, or was it very white?
5% white.
Yeah.
So new athletic black kid had to, you know what I'm saying? But just anyways, we were more so.
That was
friends.
The title of his first blog was "New Athletic Black Kid."
Yeah, exactly. We were more so friends, friendly. But he didn't like, had a little crush on girls, but he wasn't, it was nothing.
Yeah, Trevor was mad.
Yeah, exactly. He was still furious. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, bit dog.
Yeah.
But anyways, so that was fun. And it was like, she had a sister. We all kind of went, it was like, that was a small group one. There was a couple black people hanging out. And then, you wouldn't know anything about that. And then,
black people hanging out?
Yeah. Does he?
I play college basketball.
But remember you told me before we started recording, he was like, yeah, I never really hung out with black people in college.
No, you just like...
You said that. Remember? You was like,
yeah, I just came in here, started touching all y'all's hair. I was just like,
you said that, right?
Wow, texture.
Didn't you say that? He was like, yeah, I don't really, you're my first
You really are trying to get me canceled, telling lies, telling stories.
But no, so anyway, so senior year rolls by though. We had the big ass group. And the thing about being a black kid, but like, I kind of have a joke about this a little bit. In those kind of communities, like, you kind of be accepted, but you don't. And you're accepted enough to like, oh, let's hang out after the games, and like, oh, we'll take little weird ass pictures together after the games and stuff.
Yeah.
But when it's mostly white people at the school, no white girl wants to be the girl that brings the black kid to prom. Like, this is the forever pictures.
Yeah.
Like, they wait till they go to college to start doing that.
Right. The racism runs deep.
Exactly. Especially in Jacksonville, Florida, where I was going to high school. So we all just kind of went in the group. And so like, sounds bad, but I want to say it because it's a podcast and we're trying to be famous. There was like groups of people that could have kind of went with each other, but it was like me, I'm like the 7th round pick of like, who can I really go with? And it was kind of like just only ugly girls left. I'm like, I cannot do this. So yeah. I was part of the group, and it was like just a free agent with the group. I didn't have like an actual date my senior year of prom, but I was fly as fuck. Had a fitted cap on. That's what you should have posted.
Technically, I didn't have a date. Yeah, nobody fucked with you.
But I was with the group. No, I was with the group. I was a cool guy. Sam, don't try to put your insecurities of your high school on me. People like me. It was just a little bit of racism.
People loved me. I just could not get a prom date.
Yeah, because of Jim
People liked me. They just didn't want to go on record.
You never heard of fucking?
No, that actually is pretty messed up. So you didn't go to a diverse high school.
No, not at all. My joke is that my mom fought hard to put us in good schools, but we were still very a black ass family. Like, I had like friends that were black that were like grew up in these neighborhoods, so they were kind of like assimilated in and kind of fit in a little bit more. Whereas we were like, our grass wouldn't be cut. Like, we would be like a very black ass kind of house, so we weren't really always the most welcome beyond our athletic ability.
Yeah. So transitioning into in reality, the reason you're doing it is because you want to get into documentary stuff. Obviously, the podcast that you're about to launch. So May 17th, 2023. That's the first time we've had a future date on the Save the Date.
First.
But that is when you release Ice Cold Case, correct?
Yeah.
Find it on all podcast platforms.
Mm-hmm.
You better check it out. So I want to be delicate and sensitive because obviously this is like a very tragic. It's like your dad was murdered, and I'll let you speak on all of that. So obviously I know a lot of this is motivated by actually wanting the case to be solved and justice to be served. But do you see this as something as like putting it in podcast form could then lead to it becoming like a documentary, or is it just like you're not even thinking that far ahead? It's like, I want this story to be heard because in honor of him and justice to be served, sort of thing.
Yeah, I think both. So Very focused on the podcast right now. Very focused on like what can we make that is compelling enough and production quality is high enough that people care and want to listen and it ticks all their boxes so that when they're driving in the car, that's what they put on. And then they talk about it with their friends and then they tweet about it or whatever.
Right.
That's like the big focus right now. I have this interesting knowledge because I've developed shows and sold shows that if you give away all the information in a podcast, no one's going to want to make it a documentary.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to hold back information on the podcast if that information could spark someone's memory and help it get solved.
Yeah.
So there's this weird dilemma of like, do you make this podcast and fingers crossed it does well enough that someone wants to buy it as a doc? Or do you put the information out, see if it can get solved, and then, you know, figure out the rest from there?
Right.
And I think I've decided, like, just put it all out there and, like, we don't know what's going to happen. And if it does get solved, then maybe there's an opportunity for, like, a follow-up documentary about the trial or something like that. But it doesn't seem right to do all of this work and then hold back some, like, big hitting information to maybe sell it as a documentary.
Right. That makes sense.
Yeah.
What I mean, yeah, if you just want to let listeners know as much information as you want without obviously giving away the podcast because you want people to listen to it, like what even led to you discovering, hey, this is a murder that should be solved and is just kind of like sitting there?
Yeah. Well, it happened 21 years ago. So it's something that like I've always kind of like lived with in the back of my mind. Oh yeah, my dad was murdered. It's not solved. Would love to solve it. But then those thoughts would kind of be like fleeting. Like it's almost like undiagnosed ADHD probably, where I'd be like 2 weeks, I'd be like really into it and like looking up stuff and Googling stuff. And then like I'd wake up one day and like be like, okay. And then I wouldn't talk about it or think about it for like months and months. And I would go through that cycle for like a really long time. And then really it was like COVID. I mean, everyone was just sitting around doing nothing. And I was like, oh, I should like kind of look into this again. And that's when it was like, oh, there's like really something here. And there is a market for this in the mainstream where right now it's just this black dude in Ohio got murdered. No one cares. But if I can make it a mainstream story and I can make him like a high profile case is what they would call it. Like, oh, your dad's not a high profile case.
Yeah.
Well, if we can make it a high profile case, then maybe people will care and maybe they'll reopen things and look into things. And so that was kind of the motivation there. I did not know my dad was murdered when it happened because I was 6.
Wow.
So I didn't find out until I was like about to graduate high school.
Oh my gosh.
And you'll hear that story on the podcast. But
Crazy.
yeah, it was a very weird like realization, learning about it, like family dynamics got really weird for a sec because it's like, oh, my mom knew obviously and didn't tell me. And
It sheds a whole new light on,
yeah,
on
totally.
everything. That's crazy. What is the format? Is it you going over all the info you have? Are you interviewing people?
Yeah, so I've
what's that look
already
like?
done a ton of interviews. It's going to be very much like a documentary and a podcast. So there's interview bites throughout, but it's not like one episode is an interview with one person. So yeah, it's very much crafted and produced like a show.
Yeah.
So it's I mean, we've got sound effects, music, composition, interview bites sliced throughout, me narrating a lot. But yeah, I'm essentially taking you from like start to finish my journey investigating this case and
Right.
how the information came in to me is how I'm giving it to you instead of reorganizing it so it makes sense. You're going to get the info in the same order that I did and have to piece it together in the same way that I did.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah.
That's super smart.
And yeah, it takes you on kind of a wild ride.
There's 6 episodes, right? Total?
8.
8 episodes total. First 2 dropping May 17th. So that's in like just a couple weeks.
Couple of little days.
Make sure you go check that out.
Yeah.
And that concludes our Save the Date section. In one of my videos, I'm a teacher. In one of my videos, I referred to a group of students who were all of Mexican heritage as Mexican.
Wow. How'd you know? Do you know that for sure? Or you just
Yes, these trust me. And this person commented on this white man commented on my video. Wow, Mexican, not Latinx or Hispanic, and you call yourself a quote teacher. Wow. And I just want to say, if you think
the hands, whenever someone does a hand, they're about to say something toxic.
Welcome to my news channel show. I just want to say, if you think me calling people of Mexican descent Mexican is racist and problematic, you're the racist one. They're from Mexico.
Yeah. It's like people saying, it's like being mad at someone being called, if you're calling a black person like African American or whatever, it's like, I'm not I don't know. It's like, I don't know what I was trying to say, but it's like overcompensating what you're calling somebody. Like as a black person, you can call me black. I don't really identify with like African Americans. There's white people in Africa that, like Elon Musk, is he African American? Like it's not
right.
You can call me black. I'm from Africa. Your people took me from Africa, so I don't really know specifically. I know. I'm sorry. I brought it back on you. But our people don't really know where we're from. So it's like, calling me black, I'm not offended by someone calling me black. Oh, they're African Americans. Like, no, I'm black.
Isn't it offensive when they're like, you're black. Right, and you're like, why'd you put some weirdness on that?
Yeah, don't call me colored.
And that's what I mean. These people, that's what they acted like I'd said that, when it's like, you're mad at me for calling people from Mexico Mexican, who that's what they want to identify as.
That's kind of toxic for you to act like Mexican is a bad derogatory term.
Yes, they're the toxic. Wow, you called them Mexican? Yeah, you're the racist one in that situation, commenter. So that commenter got under my skin, and my other one, I always read the comments, and they say you shouldn't. I do. If someone gives me a hate comment, I have to know who they are.
Nice.
And this woman commented, like, she was just completely hating on me, telling me I'm a bad person. And I clicked on her profile, and her Instagram bio was, I try my best to be a godly woman. The problem is I want to be a thug too. And this is a white woman from the South.
If the thing is, if that was an old black lady that said that, I actually would love to meet her.
I would respect that. But not someone who has the let me speak to your manager haircut.
But what is that haircut? Because is that like I have mixed kids, single mom haircut, or is it a different haircut?
The let me speak to your manager. You haven't seen those memes? The let me speak to your manager haircut is like the white woman with like
swoosh
bangs, and one side's a little shorter than the other. And
that's the same cut though I'm talking about. So that same cut is the same cut, the white girl with the mixed kids that, you know what I'm saying, likes black dudes. I was going to say the N-word, but I'm trying to get us famous. So
you're the one who can say it. Go for it.
Niggas. She likes niggas. And that's the same girl. The same haircut, at least.
I mean,
she transitioned from calling, like, she used to specifically like niggas, and she's kind of like grown up a little bit and become more chill and whatever. And like, you know, she has 2 kids, but now she's like, okay, now I'm just gonna call the manager, and like, I got a little bit of money, my kids are grown, my son's about to be, you know, Blake Griffin, so I'm chilling, and now I have a little bit more clout. Now I can call the manager up and say my filet mignon's wrong because my son is Klay Thompson.
He's got that first round pick money.
Exactly.
Yeah, those are just the 2 situations that I said, you know what? That's enough internet for me today. Those are pretty personal. I don't know. Have you had any of those moments lately?
Not really. I just in general get annoyed by Twitter and people complaining about media.
Yeah.
This probably won't release exactly after, but I'll try to make it broad. After award shows or after, say, Super Bowl halftime stuff.
Right.
Like the Rihanna stuff. Like, it's kind of annoying when people just like, oh, that was bad or that wasn't good enough. It's like, why can't we just enjoy good enough?
Right.
Like, everything doesn't have to be, you know, up and to the right with every single thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes just seeing a person perform and make slaps or perform their slaps is good enough for me.
Right. Be creative. And honestly, this leads me to one of our dates. November, September 25th, 2019.
Is that when I became the host of Coles?
It is. So you get a write-up. You get a write-up in the Chicago Tribune for becoming the Coles open mic host, which again, that's how big a deal. But no one cares about open mics. And like, this is like such a staple and such a great environment that the Chicago, like a real publication is doing a write-up on the new host for it. And it's a big deal and you're taking over for Sarah Sherman, aka Sarah Squirm, who's now on SNL.
Mhm.
Like this is like an incubator for like these are talented people getting write-ups, like doing as cool as it is that they're letting people do stand up for the first time. This is also a place where you can see like special performers where it feels like kind of one of a kind.
Yeah, Coles is great. First place I ever did comedy was Coles. Did I tell you that?
Really?
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Because I took a class at Second City first.
Who was your teacher?
Some random old white guy. I don't remember his name.
Danny can't differentiate between whites.
Yeah, I don't know who he is. You know, like blind people like just see like figures, like shapes. I don't see facial features. I just see like outlines.
Have you seen that Black Mirror episode where
exactly.
they only see the outline? It's just like a white blur.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen this guy in my life.
Because he's only ever seen this guy in his life. They're all the same.
Right, yeah. But no, that was the first place I ever did comedy. And I remember like doing it, going up and seeing, I did the Second City class first. Cause I was like, I had a corporate job, was miserable. Then I was like, I'm gonna take a class and like kind of get into it. And that was like one of the places they said in the class, like, go to Coles. And first time I went to Coles, so the people that don't know, you have to sign up at Coles at like 5. Then you're supposed to technically stay there until the shit
that's
starts.
the part that I hope that's changed.
Right.
I don't think that's fair.
It was like insane. So you would be there
supposed to stay there till when?
9 when the shit starts.
Oh yeah.
So like you could get like you could easily get away once the first bartender left for the first shift. Then you could leave at like 8:30 or 8. But technically, you were supposed to hang out and like you could only leave to get food and come back to hold your spot, quote unquote, when you signed up at 5:30.
iPhone release.
Yeah,
Facts.
So you gotta camp.
It's like
But the thing is, a lot of people, you know, it started at like 9:30. So if you want to get up the first, say 15 people or so, you had to pull up at that point, or else you'd be there until 1 o'clock.
It goes
you know,
super late.
and a lot of people, if you have regular jobs, which a decent amount of people still do in Chicago, you don't want to be, you know, I mean, some people didn't give a fuck. But anyways, Coles was just a vibe. Coles was a place where, as a young comedian, you could like build a community with people.
Totally. And it's a great, especially in Chicago, it's a great way to like meet everyone, and everyone knows who you are immediately because it's like people are there, you know?
Right. Well, one thing that the write-up was specifically talking about, and I've seen, I mean, obviously you and Danny go way back. We know each other from like seeing each other at shows, but it's not like we know each other well, but you're always, I've never seen you do too much of the same set twice, which there's two kind of comics that never do the same set twice. There's like, hey buddy, you should probably work on some jokes, but you're on the opposite end where it's like, what, you are constantly writing, like always writing new material, always having great jokes. And that was the write-up was even talking about the host of Coles. It's a lot of the same people come back each week. So you kind of need to come with fresh material. So was that something that you just naturally did, like always writing, or was getting that Coles hosting job, like what kind of even motivated you to always be workshopping new stuff, always coming prepared with fresh material?
Well, one, thank you for saying that, because I think I'm a hack and I say the same thing every time I get on stage. So it's nice that that's not always the perception, because I'm running these jokes till the end, you know?
It's not the perception. I mean, to cut you off again, at Carly's show, the big one, you did a PowerPoint presentation on a night where you got like lost or something. It truly was easily a no cap the top 3 set I've seen in my life, and it was a PowerPoint like that.
Well, the PowerPoint, I will say, PowerPoints do help. They do get a bigger laugh.
No, but
it's like a crutch. But no, thank you for
sure. They help with like middle America, like corny. Like I've seen people do like corny. This was like it was one of one, lightning in a bottle type of
this
set. Yeah. Well, you're not a supportive person, so
Danny's almost at every big one. You guys are both really supportive.
I'm a hater. I'm fueled by the hate
a lot. But yeah, no, I think I always was trying. Also, the thing I will say that like I think is there is such like a hustle culture in comedy that I especially noticed in Chicago, where like you have to commit your whole life to this every single night. And I really bought into that at the time. I'm like in my early 20s and I like don't like even really know who I am. So I'm just like that was my whole life. I was losing all my friends that weren't comedians, you know, like I really kind of, I don't know. I look back on that and I'm like, I do feel like I have more of a balance now with life. So sometimes I feel like I'm not writing, but at that time comedy was my entire world. And so I was always writing new stuff. And exactly at Coles, like I bombed mostly hosting because you're going up either first. It's good to sometimes go in the middle, but yeah, I'm doing new stuff every week. And like, you guys know, a joke normally isn't going to work like the first or second, you know, you have to kind of try it. So that was something where, but you also notice like, I'm like, oh, this bit, like when at the beginning of the month, like I didn't have it, but now it's the end of the month.
Yeah.
And Kohl's helps you like structure it. So I kind of knew that going in.
And you're getting up for so many comedians. I feel like you probably end up doing an hour of stand up every night. Damn, you probably do open with 10.
100%,
And
yeah.
even if you switch off, you'll be able to do intro probably 20 comedians a night at least. So even if you do a minute per, it's like you're legitimately doing like 30 minutes.
Yeah, and you have to talk to drunk people and like you're really like.
It was stressful. But anyways, I just watching it was stressful. I don't mean to make this a Cole's podcast, but it was a really good place.
Yeah,
Alex,
Chicago heavy. Oh
Alex Cuban was fired, like a good person to like start comedy as like a mentor and just like a figure.
100%.
And anyways, Chicago comedy is the best. I think it's the best comedy city in the world.
I completely agree.
We should move back. Okay. Sam. Sorry, Sam just left because he's unprofessional, but we're gonna get into today's. I'm sorry. We're gonna get into today's this episode with our guy Fumi. I don't know. I'm gonna cuss. I was trying not to cuss as much up top because the first episode I had like 4 F. Yeah. Damn. Yeah.
We talked about race, white slavery, and just a lot of cussing right off the
like 3 seconds.
Right. And I feel like all his teacher followers were like, what the heck? Playing this in the morning as kids come in the damn room.
I had someone message me from my high school who was Mormon that was like, yo, what's up with the Mormon thing?
Shout out to the.
That's funny. All right.
We
get a proper intro.
Probably have already cut it by this point, so go ahead.
Okay, great.
I'm just saying in post, I'm already to be like, yeah, we're fucking vibing, we're having a good time.
Yeah, I'm here to kill the vibe. Okay, great. Proper intro.
The police. All right, go ahead.
We're not doing this today.
I know. I wasn't gonna do it, and then.
Cool. All right. Our guest today made his late night television debut on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert, was a staff writer for James Corden on The Late Late Show, and was creator of the acclaimed Asian Not Asian podcast. You can currently find him headlining shows throughout the country, as well as listen to him on his lighthearted personal finance podcast, Cash Cuties. We are beyond excited to welcome to the show a lover of the Chase Sapphire Reserve Card, son of a civil engineer, and Hilliard Davidson's 2007-2008 Winter Homecoming King.
Ooh.
Fumi Abe.
What the fuck? Yo, how much digging did you do?
I mean, Fumi Abe, or as you're known in the AIM community, M2 Lax Shorty 10.
This is crazy, and I'm gonna leave. What the hell?
The top. He's serious.
This is wild.
It scares me. I had to cut some stuff out of my episode because he goes deep.
Yo, I mean, this is like, I don't even know where I said my screen name. I might have said it on some fun like Instagram story I was tagged in. Yeah. Is that the one you watched?
I like to keep my ear to the ground.
That's wild,
I like to keep my ear to the ground.
Well, I'm freaked out right now. Yes. Thank you for having me, boys. This is awesome.
Thank you for being here, and that's why Danny's here, is to keep the vibes. I'm gonna make it real uncomfortable with how creepy I am, and then Danny just wins the guest right back over.
Exactly.
Before we get into our guest today, let's do a little check-in, Danny. How we doing this week? Anything?
The podcast answer or the real answer?
Give it to us both ways. Ooh, juicy alert.
No, I'm miserable, but no, I mean, you saw the couple emails I got before we started recording today, so that's fire. The business that we're in, which is comedy and or entertainment, is one of the most insane things. When you think about it, it's crazy. Like
a lot more no's than yeses.
A lot more no's than yeses. Days and even months without getting yeses. And even when you get the yeses, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to affect you financially even.
Yeah, you're being a real tease right now. Are we just saying we got exciting emails, or that's what we're leaving it at?
Yeah. I mean, it's because it's nothing.
Ooh, I guess you'll have to keep on tuning into our podcast to find out what happens with this exciting.
Next time on Callbacks, does Danny become some famous rich comedian, or does he fall into a binge of rage and alcoholism?
Probably both.
Right. If I'm doing it right, probably, yeah. If I'm doing it right, probably both.
All the greats done both. That's exciting. Yeah, but yeah, this industry has a way of keeping you down. And now, like, I quit teaching because I can do enough social media stuff in comedy. So, like, I can kind of lean into that. But I still substitute teach from time to time. And you just get no respect as a substitute teacher. These kids are savvy these days. Like, I used to think if there's an adult in the room, I have to respect them. Like, these kids, like, will get up to leave. And I'll be like, hey, where you going? And they're like, you don't even know my name. And then they'll just walk out the door. And it's hard, especially I don't give respect. This is a lesson I learned as a substitute teacher. Don't read when you take attendance. Don't read the list. Go around and make the kids say their name.
Yeah. This is free game for y'all, by the way. Substitute.
Any substitute teachers out there, don't make the kids go around and have them say their name and check them off. Because I was at a school with a lot of Latina students, Latinx students, and I'm just going through the list, but I'm like stuck in my experiences. So I see a name, Saul, and I'm like, is Saul here? And the class just starts dying laughing. They're like, Saul? Who's Saul? And I realized, I'm like, oh, is it Saul?
Oh, yeah.
And they start dying laughing. And this little
Aaron type shit.
And this little Latina girl is like, leave this white man alone. He's trying his best.
You got to sit in the room for the rest of the
The amount of white guilt that filled me when a little brown girl is trying to defend me when I was the one who messed up their culture. So now I'm in my head anytime I'm reading attendance list name, and I'm doing too much reading it. So I get this. Let me pull this up.
You're about to get you fucking canceled, dog.
I get this. I read this name. It's Dezarea.
Desiree?
Correct. Do you think Desiree is what I said? Because I'm too in my head. I'm like, if it's obvious, it must not be that. So I said, is Desaria here? And no one said anything. And I was like, Desaria. Is there a Desaria? Okay, Desaria's not here. And this little girl with the most dumbfounded look on her face is like,
what's wrong with you?
Do you mean Desiree? And I was like, it was 100% the Key and Peele sketch. Hey, Ron. I was like getting mad. I was like, okay, Desaria's not here. And she's like, bro, it is Desiree.
That is the whitest shit I've ever heard a human do in my life. And you should be ashamed.
And then I was like, oh, well, it's not spelled the normal way. But then the normal way I think of Desiree is Desiree, which looks like Desiree, which is not a normal. It doesn't look like that anyway either. So I was sitting here like, okay, my bad. You said
confidently too, like, who the fuck is Desaria?
I was like, Desaria.
Stop playing, y'all, for real.
I had 10 toes. I was like, Desaria.
Y'all playing too much. I'm trying to pass out these worksheets.
Yes, because so many times I go through the attendance and then kids come back to class like, hey, mister, you marked me absent. So I make sure I say their name loud so everyone can hear. I think I even slowed it down. I was like, Desaria. No, I didn't slow it down.
Jenkins, Miss Jenkins.
I know. So now I just make the kids say their names because I'm not trying to.
That's actually funny as hell. And you should be ashamed of yourself.
Always, but 100%.
I appreciate you helping us make content because that's the funniest thing I've heard you say all day. And think about it though. Like back then, like a lot of stuff that we did, you know, when this is early social media, you weren't even thinking about it in a way of like, I gotta get this popping to like, you know, have some crazy big following. Like social media at that point was just to be social with.
It was pure,
like your friends and like your second or third connections. You know, like not third, but like your second connections essentially. So like, you know, we blog and, you know, I get a couple hundred views or whatever and sell some shirts myself, 30, 40 shirts back then. But it wasn't like this, and maybe this is like to my fault or whatever, but it wasn't like this supreme thought of like, I gotta make sure a million people see this blog post, because it was like it was no ad spend back then, really, barely, if at all. It was like it was no algorithm. It was just chronological. Like it was no gaming the system for real.
Right. So you were actually making art just to make art. You weren't being like comedian destroys heckler.
Right. Exactly. Just, I wasn't editing. You know, you put like little crispy filters on there, but that was like the most you would do. So
you putting it in
Right, exactly. Yeah, Valencia. Yeah, exactly. That was the go-to. It's like my mental health. This just be like, I just be like, it is what it is. Like, I got like, it's healthy, but it's just like, I guess, nigga. Like my mental health feels like somebody that works out a lot, but they eat bad. Yeah. Like it's like I'm good, but it's like I need a different vibe. Like the shit is just all over the place.